Hey everyone, Jeffrey here with ThemeForce.net, and today is the first day in a series of jQuery tutorials from absolute scratch. So I'm going to take you through downloading the library, learning about the syntax, creating your first function, and every day I'll post, every day or every other day, depending on a few variables, I will post a 5 or 10 minute video. So you're going to have, a training session over the next couple weeks, if all goes according to plan. So if you see all of these jQuery tutorials out there and you have no idea how to use them or how to work with the library, this is the series for you, all right? So I recommend that you subscribe to the RSS feed on our blog, and that will keep you informed every day when a new posting goes up. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first step with getting started with jQuery is to download the framework. So I'm going to visit www.jquery.com, and it's going to take me to the home page, and I will come down here to this download jQuery link. Now you have two options. The first is the production level, and it's about 15K. That's going to be the one we're working with. You could get the larger version, and this is intended if you would actually like to go through the code yourself and see the inner workings. Considering that you're absolute beginners, I highly doubt that you'll need to do that. So just download the production version and click Download jQuery. Now you're going to be redirected to Google, code.google.com, where you can click on the jQuery library and it will save it to your desktop. So after you've saved it, load up your favorite code editor, whether it's Notepad or Aptana or Coda, anything you want. I'm going to use Visual Studio, and drag in the jQuery library that you just saved. So let's work on our first project. We are going to simply take a box, and when a link is clicked, we're going to take that box and fade it out. So add a new HTML page and call it index.html. All right. Now, the first step that we need is, in order to work with this framework, we have to reference it from our document. And the way I'm going to do that is add a script tag. So with Visual Studio, I can simply drag the file into my document. However, you may need to type it out manually. And you'll do script src, and then the next is going to be the path to the document. Now, my jQuery is located within the root, so I don't need a very complicated path. And then finally, the type of this script reference is JavaScript, so we use text/JavaScript. All right, let's create some markup. I'm going to start, and to create our box, I'm going to create a div, give it an ID of box. All right. And then we also need to create a link so that when it's clicked, we can make the box fade out. So I'll add an anchor tag, and we won't send it anywhere. And the text will be click me. Simple enough, right? Let's view this in the browser and see what we're working with. View in browser. Now you're not going to see anything just yet, but we're going to need to load this up anyways, so let's go ahead and do so. All right, and it shows nothing. So let's create the CSS. I'm just going to put it inline to keep it simple, but obviously in a real environment, you should create an external .css file and reference that. Script type equals style type equals text/CSS, and I'm going to assume you have a basic understanding of HTML and CSS. If not, let me know, and I will refer you to some great resources for that. So let's style our box. So I'm going to do #box, get the div with an ID of box, and I'm going to give it a background color of red, and I'm going to force it to be 300 pixels wide and 300 pixels tall. Save it, come back to my document, refresh it, and there's our div. But you know what? I want this click me to show up below my div. So the way I can do that is actually manually close out my div like so. And that should push the anchor tag below. There it goes. All right. So if I click it, nothing's going to happen just yet, obviously, because I haven't written any JavaScript. So let's do that right now. Once again, I'm going to do this inline, but you should do it externally in your project. Script type equals text/JavaScript. Now, we need a way to tell the code when the document has loaded and is ready to be worked with, then run the code. Because, needless to say, we don't want to be, with jQuery, editing images before they've even finished loading. So one potential area that you could have a problem is if you're trying to get the width of an image before it's even finished loading, it's going to return something that you don't need. So the way around that is we can say, when the document's ready to be manipulated, run some code. So we start with the jQuery symbol is $, and I'm going to do function, open parentheses, closed parentheses, and then all of our code is going to be contained within brackets. So we'll do open bracket, close bracket. Now we need two more things. If you come up here, remember we opened the parentheses, so we have to close that. So we'll close it after there. And anytime you end a statement with JavaScript, you need to use a semicolon. All right, so this, you'll find yourself doing this with just about every project. Okay, I know I do. So any code here will now be run when the document is loaded and ready to be worked with. All right. So I need to say when this anchor tag is clicked, fade out the box. So we'll start with a jQuery, the $, get the div with an ID of box. Now, the great thing about jQuery is that we can use CSS selectors. So for you designers who have some CSS knowledge, you can import that into your jQuery. So we would do pound box. And this is saying get the div with an ID of box in the same way that we referenced it in our CSS. Now, we need to say when clicked, fade out the box. So once again, jQuery makes it easy. Dot click, and then run a function. So I'll do function. We open parentheses, write function. We could pass in some parameters, but we're not going to. So I'll do open parentheses, closed, and then create an opening and closed bracket to contain our function. And finally, we have to close our beginning parentheses, and it's the end of a statement, so I'm going to add another semicolon. All right, so now we have code that will be triggered when this anchor tag is clicked. And we need to say, get this box and fade it out. So, I'm sorry. Up here, it needs to be A. I got ahead of myself. When the anchor tag is clicked. And then we'll say, get box. And we want it to fade out. Well, pretty easy, right? Fade out. Open parentheses, closed parentheses, end of the statement, so add a semicolon. Now, you might be wondering, why are there always these parentheses? And that's because we could pass in parameters here. In the fade out instance, we could pass in a speed to say fade out over 10 seconds. And then we could pass in another parameter that says when the div is done fading out, or when the elements in the wrapped set are done fading out, then perform another operation. We're going to leave it blank for just now, but let's see what this code gives us. I'm going to refresh my page, and I'm going to click on the anchor tag, and our image faded out exactly like we wanted. But now, let's say you want a little more control, and you want to say, I want this div to fade out over 5 seconds. Well, we can do that by specifying the length with milliseconds. And 5 seconds is equal to 5,000 milliseconds. Now notice I didn't put this in quotation marks. Anytime you're dealing with floating numbers or integers with JavaScript, you don't need to have quotes around it. So refresh the page again. I'm going to click on the anchor tag, and now you'll see over the course of 5 seconds our image fades out. Now let's say you don't need that much say over the speed. You just want to, somewhat generally say how fast to fade out. Well, jQuery provides you 3 different general terms that you can use with many different methods. And easy as pie, you could say slow, normal, or fast. So let's say we want to fade out our div fast. Well, within quotation marks, I'm going to type fast. Come back to my document, refresh it, click on it, and now it fades out very fast. Now, you may not see an animation because this is a screencast and the frame rate's a little bit lower, but I promise the animation is nice and smooth. So there you have it. In the this first tutorial, you've downloaded the library and you've already created your first function and your first animation. So imagine what you're going to be doing over the course of the next couple of weeks. That's going to do it for today, but please subscribe to the ThemeForest RSS feed by going to blog.themeforest.net and scroll down and just click on the RSS feed link, and that will keep you updated every day when I post a new video tutorial in this great series. And as always, I'm willing to take suggestions if you are just getting started and you want to know, how can I make this happen? I'm happy to take a look at that, and I'm happy to create a video for all of you. And please offer any suggestions. If you don't understand something, I will go right back over it. And my intention is, after you learn this, take it over to themeforest.net and sell some templates and make some more money for you, for us. Everybody wins. So I will see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Thank you.